My mother promised to watch my kids while I went back to school, then backed out the day before classes started because her friends planned a cruise. So I did this and woke up to 31 missed calls. My mom, female, 58, backed out of watching my kids for nursing school with zero notice, and now I'm screwed. Throwaway because people I know use Reddit. Sorry for any formatting issues. I'm typing this on my phone while having a complete breakdown. I, female, 34, am a single mom to twins Zoe and Zach, 8, and my youngest Ethan, 5. Been raising them basically by myself since divorcing Robert 3 years ago. He pays the bare minimum child support and takes the kids every other weekend, but that's it. I've been working as a medical receptionist at this local clinic, and honestly, I'm just barely keeping us afloat. We have a roof and food, but there's literally no wiggle room. I've always wanted to be a nurse, since I was a teenager, but I put that dream on hold when I got pregnant with the twins at 25. Well, I finally got accepted into the nursing program at the community college. This was after being rejected twice before because it's actually really competitive here. I was so excited, I literally cried when I got the acceptance email. The kids made me a congratulations mommy banner and everything. The biggest issue was always going to be childcare. The program requires me to be on campus 4 days a week for classes and labs, and the hours don't line up with school hours at all. Professional after-school care for 3 kids would basically eat my entire paycheck, so I was really struggling to figure out how to make this work. About 3 months ago, during our regular Sunday dinner, my mom, female, 58, offered to watch the kids after school on the days I have class. I was honestly shocked because my mom isn't usually the most reliable person, but she seemed really into the idea. She even bought special snacks and games to keep at her house for the kids. I confirmed this arrangement with her multiple times over the summer. I literally showed her my class schedule and we talked about specific pickup times. I'm not an idiot. I know how important this is. Based on her commitment, I declined a spot in the subsidized after-school program at my kids' school, which now has a huge waiting list. There's literally no way to get them in now. So yesterday, literally 24 hours before my classes start, I get this casual call from my mom. She asked how I was doing, and when I mentioned getting ready for my first day of classes, she casually mentioned she was going on a cruise with her friends, leaving tomorrow for 2 weeks. When I reminded her about our childcare arrangement, she claimed she completely forgot about that, which is ridiculous since we've discussed it many times. She admitted she put down a deposit for this cruise 6 weeks ago. When I got upset, she got defensive, saying she has a life too, and suggested I just find someone else or take a semester off. The call ended with her telling me I was being dramatic as usual. After I hung up, I had a panic attack. I couldn't breathe. The nursing program has a really strict attendance policy, and missing the first 2 weeks would definitely mean losing my spot. I frantically called everyone I know trying to find someone who could help with the kids. No luck. Absolutely no one. My neighbor, who sometimes watches them, has a new full-time job, and my friend Jessica just had a baby, and everyone else works during the day. I even called my mom's cruise friend Linda, thinking maybe she could talk some sense into my mom. That's when I found out my mom has been planning this trip for months and has talked about it at their weekly card game. I've been to 2 of those games with my mom during that time, and she never once mentioned it to me. Not once. Oh, and Linda was like, "I thought you knew," and seemed genuinely shocked that my mom hadn't told me. I feel so betrayed and desperate. I can't leave the kids home alone. It's dangerous, and I could get reported to CPS. I can't miss school, or I'll lose my spot. I can't afford professional childcare. I literally don't know what to do. I've been putting off this career move for almost a decade, and now that I finally have the chance, it's falling apart before it even starts. In my desperation last night, I did something that's causing a lot of drama. I made a detailed post in our neighborhood Facebook group explaining my situation. I included screenshots of text confirmations with my mom about childcare and asked if anyone could help with the kids in exchange for me providing weekend nursing assistance to elderly relatives, once I'm qualified, obviously. And yes, I tagged my mom and all her cruise friends in the post. I named her specifically. I was desperate and honestly so emotionally exhausted. I know public shaming isn't usually the answer, but I just didn't know what else to do. My mom totally screwed me over and didn't seem to care at all. My phone has been blowing up all night from family members saying I'm an asshole for publicly humiliating my mom. My Aunt Sally called me yelling about how I've ruined my mother's reputation in the community and how I should be more understanding that my mother has sacrificed enough for me. I still don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. My kids are excited about me starting school, and I haven't told them yet that Grandma bailed. I'm sitting here crying while they're sleeping because I feel like such a failure. I know this post is all over the place. I haven't slept. I probably shouldn't have made that Facebook post, but honestly, I don't regret it. Maybe that makes me a terrible person. I just feel so stuck and abandoned. Edit. A lot of people are asking why my ex can't help. He lives 2 hours away now with his new wife and basically only does the bare minimum. When I called him about this emergency, he said not my problem and hung up. Edit 2. Someone asked about other family members. My dad passed away 5 years ago, and my only sibling lives across the country. My mom is literally my only family support nearby. Edit 3. To everyone suggesting I just hire a babysitter, I've tried. The issue is, I need someone who can pick the kids up from school and watch them until I get home around 6 p.m., 4 days a week. Professional services want $25 to $30 hour for 3 kids, which I absolutely cannot afford. Edit 4. Yes, I did try calling the school about the waitlist situation. They said there's nothing they can do until spots open up, which could be weeks or never. Edit 5. Wow, this blew up overnight. Thanks for all the support. I've silenced my phone because the family drama is getting insane. We'll update when I can. Now for the first update. So a lot has happened since I posted yesterday. Things have been completely insane and I'm still processing everything. This is going to be super long, so sorry about that in advance. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented and messaged me. I honestly didn't expect this many people to care about my situation. I was just having a complete breakdown and needed to vent. So after I made that desperate Facebook post and then my Reddit post, I finally turned my phone on silent around 1 a.m. and tried to get some sleep before my first day. I managed maybe 3 hours of actual sleep because anxiety is fun like that. When I woke up at 5:30 a.m. to get everything ready, lunches, backpacks, my stuff, etc., I checked my phone and literally almost dropped it. I had 31 missed calls. Not exaggerating. 14 from my mom, 8 from her cruise friends, 5 from my Aunt Sally, and 4 from my Uncle Thomas, plus like a million text messages. My first thought was, honestly, oh God, what have I done? And I felt really guilty. But then I actually looked at my Facebook post, and holy crap, you guys. 3 neighbors I barely know beyond saying hi at the mailbox offered to help with childcare. This retired nurse named Lindsay, who lives 2 streets over, volunteered to watch the kids 2 days a week and even offered to help me study. And get this. My mom's church friend Hannah, who I've met like twice, messaged saying she was shocked at my mom's behavior and offered to cover the other 2 days. I was literally sitting on my bathroom floor crying, quietly so the kids wouldn't hear, because I couldn't believe strangers were stepping up when my own mother bailed. The messages from my mom started with her being angry that I humiliated her and demanding I take the post down. Then she accused me of overreacting, saying she just forgot and made other plans. Eventually, she sent tearful messages saying her friends Linda and Janice backed out of the cruise and everyone was calling her a terrible grandmother. She kept asking me to take the post down because I was ruining everything. Hearing her cry made me feel guilty for a few seconds until I remembered she had 6 weeks to tell me about this cruise and chose not to. Several of her friends backed out of the cruise, telling her they couldn't support her abandoning her grandkids. Linda actually messaged me saying she had no idea about the situation and wouldn't have agreed to go if she knew my mom was leaving me stranded. The family drama has been crazy. My Aunt Sally called while I was getting the kids ready for school and yelled at me about publicly humiliating the family. I put her on speaker while making lunches and just let her talk. But then she mentioned something interesting. My mom did the same thing to her years ago. When Sally's husband was deployed overseas, my mom promised to help with Sally's kids, then backed out last minute for a spa weekend with friends. I was surprised to learn this was a pattern. Sally said my mom always makes big promises, then bails when something better comes along. This explains a lot about my childhood, like when she promised to come to my dance recitals, then had headaches at the last minute. Sally still thinks I was wrong to post publicly about it though, because of family loyalty. Then my Uncle Thomas called and was completely on my mom's side. He said she raised me for 18 years and deserves freedom now, and that I was being ungrateful. I wanted to scream because I didn't ask her to watch my kids. She offered, confirmed multiple times, and then bailed with no notice. Thomas has always been like this. When we were kids, my grandparents clearly favored my mom over him, and instead of being resentful, he just joined them and became her biggest defender. My dad used to call it Stockholm Syndrome, which probably isn't the right term, but you get the idea. Somehow, I managed to get through all this drama and get the kids to school. My first day of nursing school was a blur. I was so distracted and anxious about the childcare situation that I barely remember what we covered. I know we went over the syllabus and lab safety protocols, and there was some kind of icebreaker activity that I completely fumbled through. During lunch break, I managed to call both Lindsay, the retired nurse, and Hannah, my mom's church friend, to arrange the childcare. I still can't believe these people who barely know me are willing to help. Like, what kind of magical neighborhood do I live in? I've lived here for 3 years and barely know anyone because I'm always working or with the kids. Turns out, people are actually nice. After class, I went to pick up the kids from Lindsay's house. She had picked them up from school. I was so nervous that the kids might hate it or she'd change her mind. But when I got there, Lindsay greeted me warmly and the kids seemed happy. The twins told me Miss Lindsay had helped them finish their homework already, and Ethan, my 5-year-old, showed me a crayon drawing of stick figures in a hospital, saying it was him helping sick people like I will. While the kids were eating cookies, Lindsay told me they were perfectly behaved, which makes me suspicious they've been body snatched. But whatever, I'll take it. When I tried to discuss payment, she refused, saying it gives her purpose after her husband Harold passed away last year. Then she mentioned she was actually a nursing instructor before retiring 3 years ago and offered to help me study on weekends. I tried to refuse because it felt like too much, but she insisted that the community should support each other, and that's what my mother should be doing. I may have cried in my car after we left. Don't judge me. While all this amazing community support was happening, the family drama continued. My mom called Sally crying about her ruined cruise and damaged friendships. Then I got a formal-sounding text from her saying that due to my betrayal and public humiliation, she was removing me from her will. This is hilarious because what will? My mom rents her apartment and has almost no assets. Her car is leased. Unless she's secretly rich, this is an empty threat. I'm feeling really conflicted about everything. I know public shaming isn't usually the answer, and maybe I went too far with that Facebook post. But honestly, it worked. And so many people have messaged me saying my mom was completely in the wrong. One of her own friends called her behavior appalling and said grandmothers don't do that to their daughters. The extended family is now completely divided. Some cousins I haven't talked to in years are suddenly in my inbox, either supporting me or telling me I'm terrible. Old family resentments are resurfacing. There's a massive group text happening that I removed myself from because it was just too much. But despite all this chaos, I've somehow found this amazing support network I never knew existed. The kids seem really happy with the new arrangement too. Actually, probably happier than they would have been with my mom, who usually just parks them in front of the TV and gives them too much sugar. The only thing that made me really sad was when Zoe, one of my 8-year-old twins, asked me why grandma doesn't love them enough to help. I didn't know what to say. I just hugged her and told her sometimes adults make selfish choices, but it has nothing to do with how lovable she is. But I'm pretty sure I majorly failed that parenting moment, so that's where things stand now. I survived my first day of nursing school. I have childcare arranged, my family is in shambles, but somehow, things might be okay. Edit. Some people are asking if my mom canceled her cruise. From what I understand from Linda's messages, most of her friends backed out, so she's reconsidering going alone. I honestly don't know if she's still going or not. Edit 2. To those asking about the previous childcare arrangement, my mom lives 15 minutes away in a senior apartment complex, not like a nursing home, just a 55-plus community. She's in perfect health and plays tennis 3 times a week. This would not have been a burden for her at all. Edit 3. Several people have asked if I've taken down the Facebook post yet. No, I haven't. Maybe that makes me petty, but I'm leaving it up for now. The support from my community has been overwhelming, And honestly, I think some public accountability might be good for my mom. Edit 4. For those asking about my dad, he passed away 5 years ago from a heart attack. He was the reliable parent, always showing up when he said he would. I miss him every day. Edit 5. Wow, so many comments about narcissistic parents. I honestly never thought of my mom that way, but reading some of the resources you all have shared, it's making me look at my childhood differently. That's kind of a lot to process right now, on top of everything else. But thank you. Now for the second update. So it's been about 3 weeks since everything went down with my mom and the whole childcare disaster, and that crazy Facebook post that made my entire family upset. First, thank you to everyone who commented on my last post. I read everything, even though I couldn't respond to most comments, because things were just so chaotic. A lot has happened since then, and I've been meaning to update, but nursing school is no joke, you guys. Like, I knew it would be hard, but oh my freaking god, the amount of information they expect us to absorb in 1 week is actually insane. I'm basically living on coffee and pure anxiety at this point. Kind of true. So anyway, the childcare situation with Lindsay, retired nurse neighbor, and Hannah, mom's church friend, has been working amazingly well. I keep waiting for something to fall apart, because that's basically been my entire life experience. But these two women have been so helpful. The kids actually seem way happier with this arrangement than they probably would have been with my mom anyway. Lindsay does educational activities with them and helps with homework, while Hannah makes homemade snacks and taught the twins how to play chess. Meanwhile, my mom would have just planted them in front of the TV with a bag of Cheetos and called it a day. Oh, and for those asking in the comments of my last post, my mom did end up canceling her cruise after most of her friends backed out, but she hasn't spoken directly to me since everything happened. Instead, she's been sending these passive-aggressive messages through my Aunt Sally about how hurt she is and how I've ruined her reputation in the community, and how after everything she's done for me, she can't believe I would humiliate her like this. I mean, all I did was tell the truth. But whatever, it's weird because even though my practical problem is solved, and honestly solved better than if my original plan had worked out, there's still this painful family rift. The kids have been asking why they haven't seen Grandma, and I honestly don't know what to tell them. I've been saying vague stuff like, Grandma needs some time to herself right now, but Zach, one of the twins, is way too perceptive and was like, is Grandma mad at us? Which made me really upset. The thing is, my mom was actually a fun grandmother when the visits were on her terms. She'd show up with these elaborate gifts, take perfect pictures for her Facebook page with the kids all posed and smiling, usually right after I'd done all the hard work of feeding and bathing them, and then conveniently have to leave as soon as Ethan started getting cranky or the twins started arguing. Like clockwork, every single time. I never really put it together until now that she's always been this way. Fun and involved when it's easy and makes her look good. Completely unreliable when actual work is involved. Anyway, despite the rocky start, I'm actually doing really well in the nursing program. Lindsay's help has been absolutely invaluable. She was a nursing instructor for like 20 years, and she literally quizzes me while the kids are doing their homework. I've formed a study group with some classmates, all other parents who understand the struggle, and I'm feeling more confident about this career change than I expected. My first practical exam is next week, and I'm actually not completely terrified, which is new for me. So yesterday evening, I was helping the kids with their homework at the kitchen table. The twins were working on some math problems, and Ethan was coloring a picture of what looked like either a dog or possibly a refrigerator. His artistic skills are developing. Anyway, there was this knock at the door, which was weird because we weren't expecting anyone, and it was already like 6:30 p.m. I opened the door and was really surprised. My mom was standing there looking not like herself at all. Her hair wasn't perfectly styled like usual, and she wasn't wearing any makeup, which I've maybe seen like twice in my entire life. She just stood there for a second and asked if she could come in, but her voice sounded all wrong, like quiet and unsure, which is not my mother. Before I could even answer, the kids heard her voice and came running to the door, yelling, "Grandma!" And it was this super awkward moment because I was still trying to process her being there while they were hugging her legs and talking over each other about school and their new friends Lindsay and Hannah. My mom actually teared up seeing the kids, which was another shock because she never cries in front of people. She says it ruins her mascara. She kept saying, "I've missed you so much," to them while looking at me with this weird expression I couldn't read. I sent the kids back to finish their homework and told them they could visit with Grandma after. My mom came in and sat at the kitchen table, just fidgeting with her purse strap and looking around like she'd never been in my house before. Out of habit, I offered her coffee, even though I was feeling super guarded, and she declined, then just blurted out, "I didn't think you'd actually go through with it." I was like, "Go through with what?" Because honestly, I had no idea what she was talking about. And she said, "School. You've talked about it for years, but never followed through." I felt this surge of anger that I managed to keep down somehow and just said something like, "Well, it's hard to follow through on anything when you have young children and no support." That's when things got really weird. My mom started crying for real, not the delicate single tear she does when she wants sympathy, but like actual sobbing. She admitted that she had sabotaged the childcare on purpose, like she literally planned to bail on me at the last minute. I just sat there in silence while she kept talking. She said she's been feeling completely purposeless since retiring from her admin job 2 years ago. Apparently, my growing independence threatened her sense of being needed, which is hilarious because I've been raising 3 kids basically alone and struggling financially. In what world am I not desperate for help? She said joining the cruise was impulsive because her friends made her feel valued and important in a way that family supposedly doesn't anymore. Then came the big news. This wasn't the first time she's pulled this crap. She admitted to doing the same thing to me as a kid multiple times, promising to come to my school plays, then not showing up, scheduling mother-daughter days, then canceling last minute because something better came along. I honestly had blocked a lot of this out, but as she was talking, it all came back to me. It suddenly hit me why I always make like 3 backup plans for everything, why I never fully trust when people say they'll help me. I literally have a notebook with contingency plans for every possible emergency because deep down I learned really early that I couldn't count on my own mother to follow through on anything. I somehow managed to stay super calm. Thank you, nursing school stress, for making this seem like a minor crisis in comparison. I told her that while I understand she has her own insecurities, this pattern of unreliability stops now. I told her she can be involved in the kids' lives, but only with firm commitments that she actually keeps. She got defensive at first, classic mom, saying I was punishing her for one mistake, and I just stared at her until she remembered she had literally just admitted to a lifetime pattern of doing this exact thing. I pointed out that the community members who stepped up were demonstrating what real support looks like. They've known me for all of 5 minutes, and they've been more reliable than she's been my entire life. So I offered her a limited but meaningful role, Sunday dinners and 1 consistent afternoon a week with the kids. She acted like I was offering her scraps from the table, saying stuff like, "So now I have to make an appointment to see my own grandchildren." I just calmly said these were the only terms I would accept, and if she couldn't commit to even this much, then maybe she needed to reevaluate her priorities. She finally agreed, but not before making it clear how hurt she was by my lack of understanding. I thought that was the end of it, but nope. This morning I woke up to 17 missed calls, but this time they were from various family members reacting to my mom's version of our conversation, which apparently painted me as cruelly restricting access to the grandchildren and punishing her for one small mistake. But I'm just done with all this fighting. Instead of getting pulled into another family text war, I sent everyone the same message. I've made arrangements that work for my children. If you'd like to discuss it directly with me rather than through mom, I'm open to that. Only Sally actually took me up on this offer, and after talking for an hour, she admitted that my mom has manipulated family narratives for years. Apparently, I'm not the only one she's done this to. She's been pitting family members against each other since before I was born. So that's where things stand now. My relationship with my mom remains complicated and honestly might never be fully healed. But weirdly, that Facebook post, while maybe extreme, forced conversations and boundaries that were long overdue. I'm continuing with my nursing program with all this amazing support from Lindsay, Hannah, and my new school friends. The kids are thriving with their reliable care arrangement. Some family relationships are probably permanently altered, but I'm finding strength in building connections beyond family and prioritizing reliability over blind loyalty. Sorry this got so long. It's been a wild few weeks. Edit. For those asking if my mom is narcissistic, I've been reading some of the resources you guys shared on my last post, and yeah, a lot of it fits. It's a hard thing to accept about your own parent. Edit 2. Several people asked about Robert, my ex, in the comments. He's still completely uninvolved beyond his regular every other weekend visits. When I told him about the childcare solution, he just said, "Good for you," and changed the subject to whether I could switch weekends with him next month because he wants to take his new wife to a concert. So helpful. Edit 3. Someone asked if Lindsay is getting anything out of this arrangement. Yes! I'm helping her organize all her old photo albums on weekends, and I'm setting up a small vegetable garden in her backyard. She says having the kids around keeps her young, and honestly, I think she was lonely after her husband passed. Edit 4. To clarify about the Sunday dinners with my mom, we're starting next week at a restaurant to see how it goes. I'm hopeful, but also prepared for her to bail. The kids are excited, though. Edit 5. Thanks for all the supportive comments on both posts. This community has honestly been so helpful during this whole mess. Who knew internet strangers could be more supportive than actual family? That's probably a sad reflection on my family situation, but whatever.